Okay, with this, we will move towards our next session that would be on the topic Cloud First Strategy, the future of cloud data center in digital world. And for this, I would like to invite on stage Mr. Pushkar Shirolkar, who is India Management Board, Global Head of Infrastructure and Information Security, Architecture and Governance at Alliance Technology. Giving a brief introduction for Mr. Pushkar, he joined us at Alliance Technology, where he's the Global Head of Infrastructure and Security, Architecture and Governance. He's also a board member for Alliance Technology in India. In his career spanning over 25 years, he has worked across many industry sectors like network service providers, semiconductors, consulting services, banking, and now insurance, where he has held several leadership positions steering towards organization digital transformation. In his current capacity, he is responsible for the overall strategy, architecture, operational excellence, and governance across infrastructure and security for the Alliance Technology Group. With this, please welcome Mr. Pushkar with a huge round of applause.
Am I audible? Okay. So thank you for staying back, and I'll try to make this a little bit fast and not put you to sleep, and just give you a little bit glimpse of what we are, what are we doing. And as it was mentioned, I'm from Alliance Technology. Most of the times I always get a question that, are you part of Bajaj Alliance? Yeah, and it's a very regular question, so I just wanted to get the elephant out of the room and address that yes, we are not part of that as a whole, but we are a joint venture between Bajaj and Alliance in India because of the IRDA regulations that existed some time back. Obviously now things are changing, but that's how it is, our presence in India along with Bajaj, and obviously in the insurance business. From a global perspective, we are an insurance company. We've been an insurance company for many decades now. And I just want to walk you through about what we are, how big we are, and what are we really trying to achieve in this overall journey for our cloud transformation. So Alliance, if you look at the entire group, we are led by our very dynamic CEO, whose name is 𝗕𝗲𝗏𝗂𝗏. And if you look at these are just a couple of numbers. I didn't want to put the numbers in terms of the total, the assets under management or things under that. But this is how big this organization is, spreading across 70 plus countries, and we've got 155 plus, 55K plus employees within the organization itself. And we are growing in every market. And the reason why we exist is because we live with our vision of we secure your future. That's pretty much the mantra that we live with. And as a part of this, if you look at it, compared to many other different organizations in the insurance business, we are kind of spread across multiple lines of business. So for example, there could be a possibility that an event like this, or maybe a bigger size than this, that also could be insured by a company like Alliance anywhere in the world. We could be probably even insuring things like the biggest of satellites that are being sent out, cruise lines which are going out. It could be, on a very lighter note, it could be something even like insuring the voice of probably Mr. 𝗕𝗲𝗶𝗁𝗖𝗿. That could be a possibility, but I would have to really find it out. That would go into the Bajaj Alliance side of it. I'm sorry? What if it rains? Yeah, exactly. And those are the things that we always kind of deal with, right? These are the different risk parameters that we have to always look at. That how do we really ensure what are the risk profiling for each types of businesses? So it's not like a regular motor insurance, because a motor insurance which you probably sell in India or anywhere in the world, a motor is a motor is a motor. The risk profiles are pretty much same, at least 80–90% of that. But when you talk beyond that, obviously there are localization and regionalizations that need to be taken care of. But when you're talking about specialized businesses and specialized insurance segments, they are very different. And we are an organization which is an amalgamation of all these different types of insurance companies. And obviously we have grown organically, we've grown inorganically, and we continue to grow in that fashion. So that's a bit of an introduction to you of who we are as an organization globally. Now, if I take a double click and I go down into Alliance Technology, which I'm a part of, and this is an organization of 10,000 odd people spread across 52 countries, and obviously we are the sole technology provider to the Alliance Group. Now, why am I really going into this is the different lines of business the spread across the world, obviously along with it brings in a lot of complexity. So if I'm into one specific line of insurance business and I'm looking at only that, it's complex, but it is still much possible for us to really put in standard platforms, standard product and solutions which can obviously be deployed across the world. But when we are talking about different lines of business, it becomes extremely complex. Mindsets of people, mindsets of processes, technology. And you know, when we're talking about people, process and technology, there are no prizes for guessing which is the hardest of that all. And obviously that's what we have to really deal with, the mindsets of our individuals who are spread across different cultures, because this is extremely diverse in nature. So it's not diverse only from a people perspective, but it's diverse even from a business perspective. So we've been toying with this idea that how do we really move forward and get into the overall strategy of what is going to be our next step in terms of getting cloud deployed out there. Yeah. So that's something which I will take you through the overall presentation for today. Obviously, a lot of people have started in terms of that, you know, they started a long time back. We started almost 5 to 6 years back when we were looking at what's going to be our strategy, how is it that we are going to move forward. So I'm not going to talk to you in terms of, you know, how it needs to be done or a generic thing, but this is more specific around what we have tried to achieve. And a lot of times you always hear, right, that the, you know, your cloud strategy is clouded, right? And that's been a very common thread. It's been a common topic which people have said. A lot of people have gone through those pitfalls because of those clouded strategies, trying to move their workloads into cloud or trying to do something different than what other people have done in their own individual business segments. So as a part of our strategy, we have been trying to move into the hybrid cloud segment. We've been moving into that direction. And obviously, our future that we see as of now and the strategy that we've planned for ourselves is to move maximum workloads into the cloud. Does it mean that on-prem is going to go away? Absolutely not. We still need a lot of information that would stay back within the cloud or within the on-prem data centers that we have. And we have 6 strategic data centers across the globe. So we cover the Asia Pacific, Europe, and the North American regions. And obviously we've got primary and DR across all these. Pretty much standard to a lot of different enterprise organizations. But that's what we will continue. But obviously the footprint is going to reduce because we want to move maximum workloads into cloud. Now this is not going to happen overnight. As I said, it's a lot of mindsets, it's a lot of tooling that needs to be done. And when we are talking about such diverse business portfolios that we have to look at, in terms of looking at, you know, what are the different applications that have to move in? Are they really even cloud ready? And then how do we go step by step into that direction? So that's the overall thing that we're looking at. Now, if you look at this slide, it also talks about 2025 and beyond. Obviously, none of us have seen 2025 and beyond, but obviously our aspiration is to be as much cloud native as possible. So not only just moving into cloud, but all our next gen applications that we are trying to develop even today, we are looking at going more and more into cloud native. You've already seen in the previous presentations, everyone's talking about microservices. They are talking about different things that can be done in terms of modularizing or modernizing their applications. We are also trying to see how we can do these front-end microservices which can be plugged into those applications, because those front-end microservices are really different than only the microservices that we will interact with, because that would be a complete entire business process at the back end in itself, but the representation that really comes across is going to be very, very different. Yeah. So that's some of the things that we're trying to do. Are we going to be successful? I think so, yes. That's what we endeavor to do. But we are putting in all the right frameworks, the right security principles, the right architectural guidelines, and we have a very defined methodology of how do we want to go from here to there. And that's going to be the strategy. That's going to be our journey of how we are really moving forward. Obviously, we talk about multi-cloud, and yes, we also have a multi-cloud strategy. We obviously don't want to put all eggs in one basket. It's a no-brainer. Everyone's looking in obviously in that direction. But making sure that we are doing cloud first, that is the strategy. That's what we are really, embarked onto. How are we trying to do it? We are looking at very simple 6 principles that we have. We are making sure that the cloud first, as I said, the default choice for all businesses. That's our first principle. Obviously, we want to lead with that. All the discussions that we're currently doing with a business are asking the right questions, challenging them that why is it that you would not want to move. Many a times, like a lot of you might have also seen, is that the business always says that no, I cannot because of some regulations, because of some certain law of the land, and I'm not able to really make that happen. But is that really the case? And we found a lot of instances that this has been an excuse. So when you do deep dive study into some of these things, you understand that that's not necessarily the case, or you could partially still move certain things in the cloud and keep the rest of the things back on-prem. So those kind of questioning, those kind of challenging is constantly going on with our business teams. The second principle, obviously, is radical simplification. Obviously, everything that we're trying to do is going to be in cloud native as we move forward. We're looking at open source technologies, how do we adopt them, because that's going to help us for flexibility, that's going to help us even from a cost perspective. And cost, obviously, is always the parameter everyone is looking forward to. Looking at the third one is renewing, not rehosting. I think we heard some of the guys saying that, I would like to keep my particular application back in my data center itself, period. Yeah, there's a reason for it, and obviously we want to do it. But when we're trying to move into the cloud, the primary strategy, and I know that it is sometimes very much costly to do those things, but re-architecting that entire solution makes a lot of sense. It's much more sustainable because you're trying to move forward in a strategic direction. It's not a tactical lift and shift, because lift and shift necessarily does not solve all the problems. And one of the speakers also mentioned that some time back that I moved everything and now my OpEx is a problem and now I have to start looking into it. And there are many more cases across the world that you always see that this is exactly the problem. It's kind of a tick in the box. I've done my cloud transformation and now I have a different problem to deal with, and you start looking into it. So how to look at those things going in a much more structured manner, that's what we are looking at. Internal excellence is one of the things we are building, deploying, and operating our IT infrastructures. We majorly do all these things in-house. We had a previous strategy where we were trying to outsource everything. Some of those things really did not work for us. So we have been insourcing and we're trying to build our own capability around it. And this is primarily to ensure that we can also manage our own intellectual property, because that's one of the biggest topics for us. So those are some of the things that we are doing. Obviously, there's a lot of automation that we are bringing in this overall cloudification journey that we've embarked onto. Then obviously multi-cloud strategy. We've chosen AWS and Azure to be our primary partners in this overall journey. I know some of you may say that why not others, but obviously there are a lot of rationals, and we are not necessarily doing it because some services may not necessarily be as mature as we want them to be, so that we can incorporate them. And obviously the sustainable impact, and the last discussion over here was very interesting because everyone's talking about green IT, and we as an organization globally are extremely focused on making sure that whatever we are doing is absolutely sustainable. Each and every program, each and everything that we are doing is towards green IT. There's a lot of internal controls that we have put in place to make sure that the workloads are going in the right direction. We do also discuss very intensely with the likes of AWS and Azure, asking them to give us the real statistics that they say that they are green to a certain extent. They want to be 100% green by 2030 or 2040 is what they claim. But what's exactly happening on the back end, we actually go and ask more details around it, because it should not be just a facade that they're trying to say that this is what we are doing for you, but at the end we don't know. Okay, so this clearly links to one of the topics and our strategies, where we are looking at how are we driving our organization towards the zero impact outages, because everyone knows that business has to run, problems will happen, but our infrastructure, our applications, are they absolutely there when the business needs them, because of the diverse nature of the businesses. And then zero trust security, obviously, that's the fundamental principle that we are looking at, where we are always saying that you have to you have to not trust, you have to always verify, validate what exactly is going on. And the other clouds, only cloud and all SaaS, that's another big topic because of the journey that we are on to. So we spoke about a lot of these hyperscalers, but along with those hyperscalers, the SaaS providers are also extremely important because they give a lot of benefits to us as an organization. And we want to make sure that we are using more and more SaaS products which are suitable to our business needs, and then we move in that direction. So multi-cloud plus SaaS, that is the overall future that we are looking at. I think these are some of the common topics for all of us. Just to name a few: people, obviously the key thing. We absolutely take care of our people, and I was just sharing a thing in our results that we have come out today. Our people index, or we call it as the employee engagement index, that have extremely shot up by 6 percentage points, and today the results are out, we are at 96%. So it's people are acknowledging, they understand, they're engaged, they're working together to make this happen. So it's not just kind of a, just a survey that's asking people questions. It's a very lengthy, methodical approach, asking the right questions. And our people are telling us that, yes, we are with you in this journey. So that's one of the key things. Zero trust security, just want to quickly touch base on this point. Obviously, it's implicit trust versus the never trust, always verify. That is the basis, that is the foundation. We are making sure that when we are moving into the cloud, are we having the right identities? Are we having the right access management over there? Are we doing the right privilege management? Because that becomes extremely important, because this entire ecosystem is now working between on-prem as well as in the cloud. And that is extremely important. We've spoken about this strong security perimeter moving to micro perimeter, and endpoint security, encryption by default, and obviously moving into adaptive authentication and authorization. And currently we're working on how do we really achieve this adaptive authentication part of it, because that's going to be part of our key design principles that all our applications will start using in the future. So that's pretty much in a nutshell. Just wanted to share with you, it's not a dream, it is a reality. We have pretty much moved forward on this path, and we have taken the right step. And I think probably our strategy is not clouded now. It's pretty much well defined. Thank you.